What is up, you beautiful people out there on the internet? It is I, Michael Shockman, here with our next episode of Arthurian D&D Explained, where we will be covering some tips and tricks on how to make arms and armor a little bit more interesting in a Arthurian setting. This is what I do. I'm not going to be talking about what other people do, because you can find that information pretty much anywhere on the internet and in books. Instead, I will just be giving you some tips and tricks and some things that I do that are a little bit different, that make things a little bit more interesting. So let's get into it. Alright, so first, for armor. And I'm reading directly from my notes, so bear with me. Every armor type has a few things in common, whether it be light, medium, or heavy. 1. They have damage reduction. 2. They have a damage threshold. And 3, they have a durability rating. As an example, Gawain gets in a fight with some bandits on the road. During this fight, he is wearing chainmail, which has a damage threshold of 4, a damage reduction of 5, and a durability rating of 16. During the fight, Gawain takes several hits for a base damage of 8 and a crit for 15. Luckily, his armor reduced the damage to 3 per hit due to its damage reduction, and it only took a quarter of the damage threshold from the crit. After the battle, Gawain needs to repair his armor because it is heavy armor. He needs to roll and get a combined total of at least 16 to meet his durability rating, repair the armor, and not damage it further. Now, this is one way that I did it initially. I just wanted to point this out as kind of an initial thing. And I mainly wanted to point this bit of notes out, point out one thing. Don't overcomplicate shit. The simplest way that I can put for arms and armor, for armor specifically in this case, is armor, the way I do it now, at least. Armor has a durability rating. The durability rating can be anywhere from 1 to 5. It offers armor reduction, or damage reduction, which basically adds resistance to all non-magical slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning attacks. And it also and that's it. That's all it does. Is it standard armor, no matter what size, no matter what type, offers a damage reduction and an AC. It has to be maintained and repaired, though, and if it breaks, it no longer offers the damage reduction. It still offers the AC, just not the extra protection. What this means is, it gives your players something to spend their money on, something to be able to bolster, it adds a whole new mechanic on how to customize their armor. Like, you can, in my world, in my games, I generally have armor bolstering kits, where you can basically get, like, pieces of metal. If you're getting heavy armor, you basically have pieces of metal that you can bolt onto your armor to basically add extra protection. And while it may, if it doesn't already, it may impede their movement, it does add extra durability and make it so that it can be maintained longer, so it kind of adds a blade of armor. So, that is the thing for armor. Now, I have had a bunch of people saying, but Shockman, if you add that mechanic, then you're basically giving everybody the one of the few benefits that barbarians get. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Barbarians get that just standard when they're raging. This allows for players who are being smart to actually be able to use armor and gain the same thing. That's the point. A lot of places tried to do that historically so that they could be on a toe-to-toe footing with barbarian-esque cultures. That makes total sense. It may not make balanced sense to some people who are a little bit more nitty-gritty and a little bit more concerned about balance, but ultimately it historically makes sense, and that's what's important. Now, in terms of damage, there are a couple of different things, or in terms of weaponry, on the other hand, the converse to armor, there are a couple of different things as well. You have, again, your durability rating, but then you've also got your crit rating, and Those are the two main things. Whereas with armor, you had your durability rating and you had your damage reduction offering resistance. With weapons, you have your durability rating and you have your crit rating. What that means is that you have a number, and almost always the crit rating and the durability rating are almost the same always with weapons. The one exclusion being magical weapons. They don't really have a durability rating, but they do have a crit rating. The point of the crit rating is that you can use a crit point, burn one of your points of crit rating in order to either make an attack, to force an attack that already hits or that doesn't hit into a standard hit, or you can burn a thing kind of like burning the power of Excalibur from John Borman's movie from 1981. You burn the power of the weapon to be, or just bash in with a normal weapon to basically be able to pummel home and drive home the impact of that strike, making it into a crit. However, by doing so, if it's a non-magical weapon, not only do you burn one of your durability points, and once your durability points are spent, if you go through, so let's say you're using a greatsword and it's got 5 durability points, and it's got 5 crit points. You burn the stuff haymaker. You go and you crit on everybody, and then you burn all of your durability points and your crit points. The next moment that you try to, you can use it technically 6 times. However, you can use a 6th crit point. However, by doing so, you will break the weapon, and you will either have to have it replaced, or you will have to repair it, and that's usually a lot more work than it becomes. So it's kind of a balancing act. Point behind all of this, behind both of these, is that they're optional mechanics and optional rules that you can add to your game to add a little bit more flavor and add a little bit more complexity. Obviously, you don't have to use them if you don't want to. And in truth, in most of my most recent games, I don't implement these. But I figured that they bear mentioning because they were part of my initial rendition of the Arthurian world. And I figured you guys might benefit from them. So yeah. Anyway, folks, that's going to about do it for this episode on arms and armor and the various tips and tricks I have for them where they're in. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Also, be sure to ring the bell icon so you never miss an episode when they go live on YouTube. Last but not least, please be sure to check out the links down in the description. You know what they do, you know where they go, you know what to do. I'm Michael Schockman, folks. I've been your host and commentator. And remember, as always, keep it real, keep it safe, keep it healthy, and we'll see you guys again soon in the next one. Peace off, everybody.